zone left corner. Touchdown!
Give the DJ Dozer 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Goodbye, he is gone!
Touchdown, Michigan! Hollis off the Heisman!
And listen to this joint go wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, the head football coach at The Ohio State University, Jim Tressel.
I didn't know a lot about Coach Tressel. I knew he was a great coach at Youngstown State, but I just didn't know a ton about him. You know, he wasn't a big name. It wasn't a big splash hire for Ohio State.
He was an unknown coming into the whole coaching hunt with the names that were being thrown around, and we didn't really know who Coach Tressel was.
We were a tad bit skeptical from the result of the choice of Jim Tressel, because we were interviewing Tyrone Willingham, we were interviewing Glenn Mason, and then this man named Jim Tressel. We kind of had to do our research after he was named our coach.
I can assure you that you'll be proud of our young people in the classroom, in the community, and most especially in 310 days in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Literally 5 minutes after it was a halftime speech, my phone rang, and he called me from the arena to basically court me to Ohio State, because I still wasn't committed. I was wavering on where I was gonna go. And I think that was what sold me, was, you know, seeing that speech and then the phone call from him. It was surreal.
It was the first time as an athlete I had ever really had a coach kind of put it out there like that.
It was something that the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry needed from a Buckeye perspective. We needed something new, we needed something bold. We needed to declare that we were going to revive the rivalry in favor of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
John Cooper would be the first person to tell you that it was his lack of success against Michigan that cost him his job. And people around here loved John Cooper then, love him now. He brought great talent, had great teams, but they never could quite get it done on a regular basis against Michigan.
When Ohio State hired Jim Tressel, they were looking for a change. They were looking for a change of demeanor, a change of momentum. And Jim Tressel immediately threw the gauntlet down. Things were going to change.
Ohio State, Michigan, it's one of the top 5 in all sports, the rivalry. So he knew he had to hit on that. It's just not another game. We had in our weight room a countdown clock of when the kickoff would be against Michigan. In film rooms, there was always Michigan film. So he was constantly planning for that and constantly having it on the team's mind to prepare for the game.
Have an amazing blue period during practice, during training camp, and things like that. I mean, you could definitely tell there was a renewed energy.
Before Jim Tressel could prepare his squad for the challenge the Wolverines presented, he gave his new team a test of their own.
We'd have to write down players' jerseys numbers, players' names, players' hometown, and what high school they went to, and it would be graded.
We had to know that Simon Fraser went to Upper Arlington. You had to know he was number 75. You had to know that C. Grant went to New Philadelphia High School, things like that.
We would either be rewarded by less conditioning or penalized by more, depending on the outcome of the test. And we would be scrambling around, and you know, it was in all due fun. I'd run up to you and say, hey, what's your name? I've been working out with you for 4 weeks. What's your name? Where are you from?
I think it comes down to that belief that you can't do anything extraordinary if you don't have very close relationships. We thought that that was really critical, to want to know about one another and to want to actually know one another. And when you're close like that and the going gets tough, there's a better chance that you hang together.
Often referred to as Senator, Tressel was part football coach, part salesman, and part politician, especially with the media.
I think that's why he was so successful, was because he thought about every angle, not only with football, but with the media. I mean, everything was calculated.
He was a guy who, if the media asked you what time it was, he'd tell you how to build a watch, but he'd never tell you what time it was. It's just who he was. He was a savvy, witty, charming, charismatic, intelligent person.
The genius of all great coaches is deep down in their gut. They are detail-oriented guys. And Jim Tressel had an eye for detail.
310 days after his introduction, Jim Tressel and the Buckeyes faced their first big test, traveling to Ann Arbor to meet that team up north, with a sophomore quarterback making his first ever start.
A kid from Michigan who grew up in Michigan started against the team up north. He found a way to get it done. So that was a big development for him, was to get that win under his belt, to beat Michigan, get that confidence.
Craig Krenzel, his first start ever as a college football player, and no one really knew what to expect, except Jim Tressel knew Michigan was beatable that year.
Wells over the right side, got the first down, he may have a touchdown. He's gone, touchdown Ohio State.
Craig had a steadiness about himself. He had a little swagger, but he had a confidence about him. And we really felt going into the big house, we were playing against a team that was probably favored significantly over us, that steady hand was what we needed.
Craig Krenzel made enough plays in the first half, and Ohio State prevailed, and a legend was born.
Navarre to the air, deep. Intercepted, Ohio State holds off the upset.
It's funny, the Michigan-Ohio State game had kind of become passé in Ann Arbor over the previous decade. They even were making some comments at one point that their biggest rivalry was with Michigan State. Suddenly it hit home, I think in 2001, that yes, Ohio State can make it a rivalry again.
If you beat Michigan, you have a successful season. So in 2001, we get a new starting quarterback and we beat Michigan. It did a lot of enriching confidence in Craig Krenzel to let him know that he could lead this team to victory. And what other way to prove it than to go up to Michigan and win the football game? It brought a lot of momentum to this city and to our program to get ready for the 2002 season.